Hey, Rainicorns, it's Ellie here. And everybody in the finance space, at least people who learn about like whether it's investments, um, money in general, whether people have their own businesses, big business, small business, has heard about the FTX BlockFi crash. And it's very interesting when you encounter new or startup companies. You know, it's always a risk, it's always a gamble, if you will. The thing is, cryptocurrency itself is not a gamble. That's what people have to really take in and understand about the entire situation because FTX and BlockFi crashing in such a major way is not making people skeptical about cryptocurrency in general. And give me one moment because I got to read to y'all something very important. Okay, so people can argue all day and night about the state um, of cryptocurrency and the fact that you know this situation happened with BlockFi and FTX, and people, it can go on and on and on as far as complaints go. However, the reality of the situation, which I am, I'm not happy that people lost money, but that happens. I'm not happy that people lost money. However, it does stand to show um, the state of not just our economy, but the mindset of our people, right? And so you have somebody who has, all the bells and whistles and made it look really, really good as far as. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, as far as having, an upstanding company on the outside. The branding was on point. The idea was sold on point. Like, we're talking big, big companies invested with FTX and BlockFi. And they also sponsored major, major independent, whether it be celebrities, high end individuals, influencers, they had it going. And so while these individual companies, FTX and BlockFi, I heard one influencer say, Erica Williams, smart classy climb smartphone money. Erica Williams smartphone. Sorry. Erica Williams Classy Climb Smartphone Money. That's her YouTube channel. So go subscribe and check it out. In her community tab, she shared someone's video and he was basically talking about how these different influencers got scammed because here's the thing, the influencers got scammed the most because people want to put a lot of emphasis on the influencers and whatnot, as far as like YouTubers. However, we have to acknowledge the fact that MLB, okay, we're talking about the largest baseball league in our country, the Miami Heat, you know stadiums, basketball stadiums had FTX and were sponsored by BlockFi and they endorsed them. It's not, you can't just say this person who does this all day, hey guys, like you can't really, when you have that type of comparison, you have to really understand like, okay, this is way bigger than just a YouTuber, you know, being untruthful with their audience unintentionally, because that was the thing. I don't think anyone would have gone into this intentionally wanting to hurt people and intentionally wanting people to invest money where they would not get a return. Because this isn't just, I have made videos about people getting a low return on things or getting what they weren't promised. However, they got something. They did get something, and it has the potential to grow. FTX and BlockFi are not in a position to allow people to grow. So let me go ahead and read this because the situation happening with BlockFi and FTX, that definitely puts a bad taste in people's mouths when it comes to, whether it be cryptocurrency, non-fungible tokens, electronic money, you know, it does put a bad taste in people's mouth. However, It's not about the company itself that we need to look at. We really need to look at the state of our economy in general. So I'll have a link to this article that I wrote in well, this is a post. This isn't an article in my forum. Hold on. So this isn't an official article that I wrote in my forum. This is a private group post. However, the group is free. So I'll leave a link in there so you can join the group and read the post. This is, yeah, I'm just going to read it. I'm just going to read it because people need to really understand, overstand, and understand that cryptocurrency is not the problem. The issue with this situation was definitely those particular companies and lack of transparency versus, people not trusting cryptocurrency. Okay? So here we go. Biden bucks. That's right. The US government is introducing digital currency. Of course, the actual name isn't Biden bucks. That's what finance expert Jim Rickards calls it. The actual bill that was introduced March 29th, 2022 is called eCash Bill, Electronic Currency and Secure Hardware Act. Okay, so eCash stands for Electronic Currency and Hardware Act. Okay, the executive order was signed by Joe Biden on March 9th, 2022, and it is Executive Order 14067, Section 4. Okay, and continuing in the article, well, in the post, I wrote, the difference between this bill and cryptocurrency is that while they operate the same, crypto is decentralized while eCash is centralized and controlled by the Federal Reserve. This is referred to as CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. So CBDC, central bank digital currency. This concept is very similar to social credit, as seen in China already. This has the power to control spending, like political donations, and even restrict internet access. Most outside of the deep state have no knowledge of this. AOC has already supported this spyware currency. Canada has even frozen accounts. Oh, for this is, outside of eCash specifically, but this is the direction that eCash is headed to. Canada froze accounts for vax protesters and locked up over 6 million in private accounts. The government has also launched projects called Project Lithium and Project Hamilton. Okay? So I will leave a link to that post in the description box. And all that is, that's the government. Okay? That's the government with eCash, electronic currency and secure hardware act. This was back in March 29th and March 9th, 2022. So while it is disappointing that the companies BlockFi and FTX disappointed the general public, also needs to be aware that having electronic currency is no longer a choice. This has now been signed. The bill was signed. Hold on. The bill was introduced March 29th. And before then, on March 9th, the executive order was signed. So things are moving very, very fast with this. Joe Biden will still continue to be president unless impeached for the next 2 years until the next election in 2024. So with that being said, how much can change in 2 years? We've already seen, okay? It's been from 2020 to 2022 now. A lot has changed in 2 years. So what's going to change from 2022 to 2024? Considering the fact that this has already been introduced as a bill and an executive order was signed already. Okay? So, if you were an investor, I definitely, get your frustration and potential anger. with companies like MLB, the Miami Heat, whatever stadiums endorsed FTX or BlockFi, and even those of us here on YouTube, how people can be disappointed by different influencers. However, it was enough to get the attention of the people, this particular failure in the public eye, to really look and see what's going on with everything in our economy, the actual economy. This is less about these two individual companies failing and more about the direction that our world is going, not just our economy as the United States, but the world is headed this way. So, it was kind of like a rude wake up call for people to really get the concept of cryptocurrency. And, here on this channel, I do talk about different companies and whatnot. And it's, I like to share things where people can spend as less money as possible or even get started for free. So that way it's really risk free so that you're not hurting too much if anything does fail, or you're not hurting at all if anything does fail financially. I know that people who invested in FTX and BlockFi, they probably had hundreds of thousands on the line. So it's very different. But here on this channel, I try to keep it as minimal as possible for beginners. I'm talking to literal teenagers. I'm talking to people my age group. I'm 24. And so people who are my age and younger. So I don't expect anyone in my age group to just have $10,000 they can just go throw somewhere else. There's people like that. However, it's not the norm. So I share practical situations with you all, which is why I'm leaving the link in the description to join this free group, because whether you get started in certain ways of cryptocurrency investing or real estate investing or not, you will still be able to be educated and keep up with what's going on in the economy and in the markets in that way, in that form, in that fashion. Okay. So I just want people to look at it from a different perspective rather than just being angry, because that's what everybody likes to do. Everybody likes to be angry. And so we're just going to look at it from a learning perspective and a way for us to gather together in a different form rather than just, being angry at companies. How about we look and see what the government's doing behind closed doors, okay? Because while FTX and BlockFi were on the rise, the executive branch was putting things into law. So we got to pay attention to that, okay? And, I'm just thinking about it. MLB is pretty big. The Miami Heat is pretty big. Those stadiums, they're pretty big. So they definitely know politicians who knew about this particular executive order. So that's probably why they were able to slide in so easily without so many, I'll say background checks, not enough vetting, screening, and background checks of this company, these companies, right? They probably knew that the president was signing this particular executive order, or that he signed this particular executive order already, or was about to. And so people needed something to push in order for people to get more on the cryptocurrency train. Like, people in the government talk so bad about cryptocurrency years ago, and now it's an executive order and the government's going to be doing it. So that's just, it just shows it's a bit of hypocrisy, but also innovation. Okay. But yeah, I don't want this video to be too long. I just wanted to share that and share a different perspective. And let's all take this as a learning curve and do our best to educate ourselves before we invest too much money into something without having the proper screening and vetting of that particular thing. Okay. All right. Well, bye, unicorns. I will see you in the next one. Peace and unity.